today so much about the separate. Our founding fathers did believe is there should be no state church paid for with tax money, and I'm for that 100%. But not in their wildest dreams did they ever think of. No.
My friends, it's Pastor Regis again with you today. I trust that the Lord has been blessing you and your family. Today, I want to share a very important message with you. However, before I do, please do me a favor. Click on the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and help me share this video with many. Because I believe that, we are entering a crucial moment in the history of the world, and soon the last events will unfold rapidly. And so I want you to please subscribe to this channel and help me share this message. The title of this video might be shocking to many, but the truth is, this is the sentiment of many Christians today in America. And this has been the standing of the Roman Catholic Church for ages. Separation of church and state is a sin. Wow. This is what many believe. The liberty of conscience and the freedom to worship as one pleases are not privileges. They are God-given rights to each person. Each of us has the liberty and right to worship God if we so choose. No one has the right to force you to serve or to worship God if you choose not to. No one can tell you otherwise if you choose to worship and serve Him. That's a God-given right. God does not interfere with the freedom of choice He has given us. Someone may encourage you to do right, but never should you force to do so. The discussion about the separation of church and state has been intensifying for some time now, and I believe it will soon reach a breaking point. I'm going to let you listen to a few videos and share a few quotes from some influential people, including from the Spirit of Prophecy. I am going to also share with you that it would be a dangerous idea to break down the wall that separates church and state. According to some Christians, the separation of church and state is a sin, and it is contrary to what God has outlined in His Word. Is that a fact? I think one of our best teachers is history. We can learn a lot from the lessons of the past. What can we learn about the past as it relates to our topic today, the separation of church and state? Let's take a page from the early church. Soon after the ascension of Jesus Christ, the Christian church was persecuted, not only by the secular powers initially, but by the religious leaders at the time. Then Christianity became a hated sect, not only by the religious leaders, but by the state, the Roman Empire at the time. The persecution of Christians would continue until the ascension of Constantine to the throne. He put an end to the persecution of Christians in AD 313. Christians were given status and recognized by the state. Approximately 67 years later, in AD 380, Christianity was made the state religion of the Roman Empire. The question is, what happened to the people who were of different persuasion? As the young generation would say, you get my drift. Hence the reason, my friend, the Christian church experienced a terrible apostasy in the Middle Ages, around 538. to 1798, the Christian church was hijacked by the papacy, a merging system of paganism and Christianity. In that system, we see the merging of church and state. The papacy or Roman Church was a state and religious power that controlled the liberty and conscience of the people. And for 1,260 years, this church-state power persecuted everyone who would dare go against the dogmas. Millions, my friends, millions were put to death because they followed their conscience in the worship of God based on the Bible. Many were slain, burned at the stake because they decided they're going to follow their conscience. In 1798, the Roman Church, or its power was broken over the people, and they had the liberty again to worship according to the dictate of their conscience. Ever since, the Roman Church has been fighting to regain the power it once had during the Dark Ages. And you know what's going to happen? It will get that power back because the Word of God says it will happen. The big question is, do these people, those who are fighting for the merging and union of church and state, do they really know what they are fighting for? When they are fighting to break down the wall that separates church and state in this country, the United States of America, do you believe that they know and understand what they are really doing? Listen to what the Word of God says of the Roman power and the merging of church and state. Now, I'm not going to read this, but I want to refer to it, and I want you to take the time to read this chapter in the book of Revelation, Revelation chapter 13. And at some point, I am going to put a video together where I will explain a verse by verse this chapter of Revelation, Revelation chapter 13. Here in Revelation 13, God presents two beasts, and these two beasts representing two world powers. One represents the Roman Church, the papacy, and the other the United States of America. The prophecy pointed out when the papacy would receive a deadly wound. The wound would heal, and the whole world would wander or go after this power, the beast. In other words, the whole world will worship the papacy because the United States is going to help in enforcing certain laws so people can worship that first power mentioned in Revelation 13, the papacy. According to Revelation 13, the papacy received that deadly wound in 1798, when under Napoleon, the French General Berthier put an end to the papacy's rule and took the then Pope prisoner. The papacy was restored to power in 1929, and his deadly wound was being healed, not fully healed, but this wound would be healed partially, not completely, but later on, as we to the end of time, you would see the full healing of this wound. Now, let me ask you a question. Since 1929, do you realize that the Roman Church has gained a lot of power globally? the only church state power that all heads of government bow to is the papacy, the Roman Church. My friend, the word of God is reliable, and God has given us a more sure word of prophecy to guide us in the final moments of Earth's history. And no matter what people say, when we interpret that prophecy of Revelation 13, some people believe that this will never happen in the United States, contrary to what you are seeing happening today. The next power that is mentioned in the chapter is the United States of America. In the future, I will, as I said, put a video together and I will explain a verse by verse Revelation 13 and help us understand what is happening now to bring about the fulfillment of this prophecy. But in short, the second beast of Revelation 13, 11 to 18, represents this nation, the United States of America, which will form an image to the Roman Church, according to what the prophecy says. Now, what is that image that the United States will form to be on behalf of the Roman papacy? That image, my friend, is the union of church and state. It is when the Protestant churches of America, apostate Protestantism, will seek the aid of the civil government to implement religious laws. My question to you is, do you see this already happening? There is a strong agitation in this country for the merging or union of church and state. And I don't know if the agitators understand the implications of their actions. Let me read to you a few quotations and share a couple of videos with you, and we will close this video. I want you to judge for yourself based on the evidence of what you will see and hear, that the word of God is accurate. Let me share with you a statement by Pat Robertson. And here is a statement that he made. I want to share this with you so that you understand for yourself. In this statement, Pat Robertson says, they, meaning the liberals and secularists, have kept us in submission because they have talked about separation of church and state. There is no such thing in the Constitution, and that's the voice of many. It's a lie of the left, and we are not going to take it anymore. This is what Pat Robertson says. There are many who have held to this sentiment. Jerry Falwell says something similar, where he says separation of church and state has been the battle cry of civil libertarians, wishing to purge our glorious Christian heritage from our country, our nation's history. Of course, the term never once appeared in our Constitution and is a modern fabrication of discrimination. End of quote. And my friend, this has been the cry of many. I want to share with you a couple quotations from the Great Controversy. In Great Controversy, page 445, Great Controversy, page 445, here Ellen White says, the image to the beast. As a matter of fact, let me read a quotation just before that. And let me put this on the screen for you so that you see this statement. In the book Great Controversy 573, here she says, in the movements now in progress in the United States to secure for the institutions and usages of the church the support of the state, Protestants are following in the steps of papists. Nay, more, they are opening the door for the papacy to regain in Protestant America the supremacy that she lost in the old world. Basically, what she is saying is that there is a movement in the United States, and we all can see that the Protestants are basically seeking the support of the state to enforce their religious principles. And basically, when they do that, basically what they're doing is opening the door for the papacy, the Roman Church, to regain its power, a power that she has been trying to regain that power in the United States of America. Here is the next quotation as it relates to the development of the image to the beast. She says, the image to the beast represents that form of apostate Protestantism, which will be developed when the Protestant churches shall seek the aid of the civil government for the enforcement of their dogmas. So basically, it's when the churches, these Protestant churches, will seek to break down the walls that separates church and state, and seeking to unite the state and the church. Then what is going to happen? An image of that beast, the first power mentioned in Revelation 13, will be formed here in the United States. And what is going to happen? People will lose their religious freedom. And this is not far-fetched, my friend. This is not far-fetched, because we already see what is happening here in these United States of America. This is exactly what we see. When there is a union of church and state, it becomes easier for the church to use the state to enforce its religious principles. It is why the founders of the United States established a government that grants its citizens the freedom to worship as they please without government interference. This is what they were escaping from Europe. The Roman Church controlled both the civil and ecclesiastical powers, and therefore persecuted all who would not obey the principles of the church. So these people were running away from such government. Therefore, these people were careful not to create a government that would function in the same way as the one they were fleeing from. Although the Constitution guarantees the freedom of religion and the separation of the civil government from the church, the agitators, and I want you to pay attention to this, the agitators for the union of church and state will eventually prevail and get what they want, because prophecy says this will become a reality in the United States of America. My friend, the writing is on the wall. The writing is already on the wall. Let me share with you a few videos, and these videos, some arguing for, some arguing against, and my friend, this is going to become a very dangerous thing here in the United States of America. So here, I want to share with you a couple of videos that will help you understand what is happening here.
The idea that there's separation of church and state, the way that it's been manipulated by leaders in our government, is absurd. It's absurd, it is a fraud, and it is tyranny.
It absolutely is.
And it's time that every person, every pastor who loves liberty, who loves religious freedom, stands up and says, no, we aren't doing it anymore. We're not playing this game of separation of church and state anymore. If we value liberty, we have to fight. And we have to stand against this absurdity called separation of church and state. We may not like it.
All right, here we have one video, and arguing that we should basically have church and state together. It's ridiculous, in essence, to have such idea as the separation of church and state.
State is the body, church is the heart. You take the heart out of the body dies. I can't separate my belief because I'm an elected official.
That is the statement by Mayor Eric Adams Tuesday morning at an interfaith breakfast that has frustrated some, including Donna Lieberman of the New York Civil Liberties Union. The organization works to make sure religious preference plays no part in government, as outlined in the Constitution.
But he cannot, as mayor of New York City, disavow the separation of church and state. He's bound by our law, and he has agreed to be bound in taking the oath of office.
And the debate continues. And it is very interesting, my friend, to listen to these arguments and understand where these people are coming from.